You've probably bought something cheap and thought, that was totally worth it. A piece of clothing, a gadget, something small, so cheap, it felt like a perfect deal. But what if that price isn't exactly real? What if someone else is paying the difference? And it's not you. A huge portion of what we use every day comes from China. That's not random. Prices are low, supply is massive, everything just works. But there's a question behind all of this. Who is actually paying the price? Because when something becomes too cheap, there's usually a reason, and it's not always just efficiency or hard work. What feels like a win might be part of something bigger, something you don't see. China became what many call the factory of the world. Sounds impressive, and it is. A large share of global products is made there. One reason is scale. China produces a lot, millions of units, and when you do that, cost per unit drops. Like buying in bulk, just bigger than that. Then there's infrastructure, ports, factories, logistics, labor, all working together, fast, efficient, organized. And of course, cost. Producing in China has been cheaper, which allowed companies to lower prices. Sounds like a win, right? And you feel that every day. Clothes, electronics, basic items, even when the brand isn't Chinese, production often is. So everything feels simple. Lower prices, more access, more options. Everything seems more affordable, but that's just the surface. The most common explanation? China just got really good at this. Efficient production, hardworking people, competitive companies. Makes sense. There's also another idea. China just played the game well, invested, grew fast. Now it's winning. Like any economy would, right? If they produce cheaper, they must be doing something better. And if others can't compete, they just need to adapt. Sounds fair, but is it? Because something is missing here. The playing field isn't level. One major factor? Government support. In simple terms, companies get help, money, incentives, cost reductions, which creates a strange situation. Products can be sold below what would normally be sustainable, sometimes even at a loss. Why would anyone do that? Because the goal isn't just profit, it's control. If competitors can't match your price, they disappear. And that's exactly what happens. Companies elsewhere have to pay full cost. No support, no cushion, so competing becomes almost impossible. And over time, they shut down. Then there's another advantage: raw materials. China has access to cheaper resources, including energy, sometimes through discounted deals in complex global situations, which leads to one thing: lower production cost, lower final price. Like starting a race ahead of everyone else. While others pay more, China starts cheaper. And that changes everything. There's also a more sensitive issue, and it's hard to ignore. There have been allegations of forced labor in regions like Xinjiang, which raises a serious question. What happens when labor becomes cheaper? For the wrong reasons, prices go down, but the cost doesn't disappear. It just moves. And in this case, the cost is human. This is one of the most debated parts of this system. But it doesn't stop there. China isn't just producing, it's expanding. Through investments and loans, it builds infrastructure worldwide. Roads, ports, railways. At first glance, that looks positive. And sometimes it is. But there's another layer. These investments create dependence. Over time, countries become tied to China, economically, strategically. So this isn't just about products. It's about influence, global influence. And that has consequences. When local companies can't compete, they disappear. When businesses close, jobs disappear too. Entire industries weaken or vanish. This leads to deindustrialization. Countries stop producing and start depending. In the short term, it feels great. Lower prices, more access, more choice. But in the long term, things change. Less production, more dependence, more risk. Because when production is concentrated, any disruption spreads fast. A crisis, a conflict, a decision. And suddenly, everything is affected. There's one more point, easy to overlook. Countries that depend on investment lose autonomy. Decisions become limited. Influence shifts. So the impact isn't just economic, it's strategic. The idea that China grew only through efficiency is incomplete. What we're seeing is a combination. Government support, cheaper resources, labor controversies, global strategy, all working together. And none of this happens in isolation. When one country grows like this, the whole world feels it. Which brings us back to the question, who is really paying the price? Because that cheap product might not be cheap at all. The cost shows up somewhere else, in lost jobs, in dependence, in concentrated power. So yes, it feels cheap, but that doesn't mean it actually is. If you made it this far, thank you for watching until the end. It means you're exactly the kind of person this channel is made for. If you enjoy content like this, consider subscribing. And let me know in the comments, what should we explain next?